What's up, everybody? Welcome to the show. This is the Fantasy Football Fanatics podcast, the official podcast of the fantasyfootballfanatics.com. I am your host, Griffin Palmer, joined by CJ, the Hitman Hickman, and Jason Cabrera. Everybody's here. What's up, guys?
What's up? How y'all doing?
What's going on?
It's doing well.
We're here for the all-important Week 17.
Yes.
That's why we're here.
I am here to campaign against Week 17.
Understandably so.
Ban it from history.
That would be ideal for all of us, I think. And not just us doing the show, but most listeners in general, because I don't think anyone in I have gotten next to no questions this week, so I assume that most of our listeners are very educated and they know, Week 17's dumb. Let's not play them. Because what is it? Dolphins, Jets, Bengals, Browns, Texans, Colts, Raiders, Broncos, Redskins, Cowboys, Giants, Lions, Packers, Bears, Buccaneers, Cardinals, and 49ers are all eliminated, so they have nothing to play for. So anyone who's even got even remotely an injury is being benched. And then you've got a lot of teams that are locked in, Eagles, Chiefs, Jags. They're all locked into their positions pretty much. So they have nothing they're really playing for. I mean, we're already hearing about how Patrick Mahomes is going to start for the Chiefs this week, and they're going to sit Alex Smith and this, that, the other, because win or lose, their placement's not going to be adjusted. So there's really only a handful of teams that have interesting matchups this week, and we'll cover that a little bit in the warm up. But just want to finish the intro and say this is the Friday, December 29th show. And, guys, we haven't had a chance to really get together and talk about this. How did your Week 16 go, your championship weekends?
Well,
he just wants to hear you say it.
Yeah, he just wants to hear you say it. Well, listen,
I mean, that's one of many leagues.
Griffin.
Thank you.
He won.
Thank
he
you.
won in our expert league, and that's so puppies, Mr. Will.
Yes.
Or Bill, or Bill Nye, the old guy, whatever you want to call him.
Will the Bill.
He won. He won the listener league. Congratulations to you, sir.
Not just did he win, yes, second year in a row. He took it
Wow.
twice against you in the final, CJ. So,
Yes,
I mean, incredible. Well done. And as I mentioned in the comment in that league, with some maybe interesting things to come to that league, because that league was incredible this year and very, very competitive.
Reload that one.
I think that all but two teams were mathematically in the picture within the last couple weeks of the season. So, I mean, it was a really cool league. Yes, Jason, how did you do in your leagues?
Well, I made it to championship in most of my leagues, but I lost all but one of those championship games. And one was our dynasty league where I faced Griffin's mother.
Hey-yo.
And
you won.
I decimated her.
There you go.
Twice double her score.
Wow.
So I felt kind of bad about that, but then I realized, no, I don't.
Well, I mean, in most of your leagues that you lost in the championships, was there like one player that was your downfall? Because normally your teams tend to repeat themselves because you start doing waiver wire ads and your teams start to look kind of similar by the end of the year because you pursue a lot of the same players. Or was it like, you faced Todd Gurley here or such and such here that had really good weeks and it just kind of didn't work out for you?
Right. Well, I had a lot of problems throughout this year because I put my faith in the wrong players. But I'd say Jamal Williams kind of sunk me a little bit in a couple of my leagues. I had Ricky Seals-Jones, and he sunk me in another league. And I didn't start Sterling Shepard, and I should have, so that was rough. It's just a couple misses. I mean, most of the losses that I took were like, 2 points, 3 points, stuff like that. So it was all close.
Oh, if only you had been here for the show last Friday, Jason, you could have known about my sit of the week, Jamal Williams. So, that's rough.
Yeah, I don't listen to you, Griffin.
I know, but at least then I could have felt better as a friend and said, I did everything I could to help you. And
I didn't have much choice though. My other choices in that league were all injuries. So
fair enough.
Yeah. It was rough.
It's a rough time of the year, especially if you're in any type of keeper dynasty league situation, because you're not just dropping players and then they're eating up your bench spots, as I'm sure the listeners out there know. Well, as always, we have an amazing show for you guys today, regardless of the fact that it is Week 17, because we have our starts and sits for Week 17. So for all of you that are playing to this just abomination of a week for fantasy and real-life football, honestly, I mean, this is in a lot of ways. There are some very meaningful games And those are the ones we're going to be pulling from. But by a wide majority, this is going to be probably the worst week of football that we've seen since the preseason and first couple weeks of the year. So buckle up. It's going to be somewhat fun. And, of course, we're going to talk about all the top headlines from around the league. There's a lot to get to, some news, rumors, and upcoming things that we have some insight on. So we'll get to that. As always, please make sure you guys subscribe to the show wherever you're listening. Facebook, we're on Twitter, we are on YouTube, we are all over the place. Just, like, subscribe, follow, whatever the case may be. And if you want to support the show, head over to patreon.com/thefantasyfootballfanatics to get yourself bonus podcasts every single week. Through the playoff stretch, we've been doing basically the same thing every week and going really in-depth looks at the best and worst matchups, the weather, all the implications, more starts and sits. It's been good. Everybody seems to like it. And I guess we'll move into our warm-up, which let's talk about it. This week 17, what teams actually have anything to play for? I mean, the New England Patriots are playing to confirm that they get a week 1 bye. If they lose and the Browns win, then they can keep it. Otherwise, if they lose and the Steelers win, then the Steelers get it. So, I mean, I guess that's something. The main teams in the AFC that really have anything to play for are, of course, the Bills, Ravens, and Titans, and Chargers. They're all in contention for those wild card spots. So if you have players in those teams, it makes interesting matchups. As far as in the NFC side, of course, you've got the Eagles and the Vikings, which were competing over a first-round bye, but, I mean, they're all locked in, so they both have home field advantage. It just comes down to if they both meet in the championship game. The Saints and the Panthers are locked in. The Rams are locked in. So it comes down to really the Seahawks and the Falcons that are playing for a playoff berth. I mean, honestly, how are the Falcons 9-6? They just don't feel like they've been. I mean, maybe it's because we know how good they were last year on offense, and they have not even come close to that. But
yeah,
I know
they've underwhelmed. I mean, they've underwhelmed this year. Even though they've won 9 games. But they still underwhelmed. That shows you how good they were last year. Like you said, they should have been that good this year.
Been very spotty. It's been a very spotty team. I mean, they started out looked like they were good, and then they just went into some dark weeks, and then played another good couple games, and then another dark weeks. This has been really spotty, and the guy that's been our MVP of the league, Matt Ryan, he's been very inconsistent and very underwhelming, and I mean, you can even say and arguably say disappointing. I mean, with what he's been doing, with the numbers he did, and granted, a lot of people saw this coming. With the offensive coordinator going and getting the Shanahan getting that coaching job in San Francisco, and then this guy Sarkisian coming in. It was bound to happen. So it was kind of you had a lot of cojones to think that he was going to back up with a new offensive coordinator. But, I mean, people, smart guys like us, we knew that this was going to happen. There was going to be regression, and you should probably stay clear of him. I mean, only part of this offense I was going to hang my hat on was Devontae Freeman. But, he got some dealing with some concussions, and that kept him out a couple weeks, and just being in an offense that was stalling a lot.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like you said. It's one of those things that no matter who the offensive coordinator is, and even if it's somebody who, I would even say it came was an apprentice to the person who was there beforehand, they're still going to come in. They have their own way of doing things. They're not the same human being. Things are going to be slightly different. The play calling will be different, and it's just not going to be the same. With everyone, therefore, there's change, and it takes time to adjust, and who's to say if those adjustments are for better or for worse? We won't know until a couple years down the line. So even though, like you said, they brought Sarkisian in, and he was claiming he was going to keep running Kyle Shanahan's offense, clearly not the case, and we've been hearing nothing but reports about how that has been not the case for weeks now. And, I mean, if that wasn't enough, just watch them play. It's obvious that they're not the same team from last year, even though they're widely the same personnel. So, I mean, we're not to knock on the Falcons here or knock them into the ground, but I know a lot of people out there are really pulling for the Seahawks to kind of limp their way in over the Falcons. Are you in that camp?
Well, I got money on the line here, so that's the reason why.
Okay. I'd be interested on your take on that, actually, Jason, being an NFC West fan.
As far as Seattle?
Would you rather see Seattle make it in or the Falcons?
Or the Falcons? That's a good question. Well, given the fact that Seattle's last game is against Arizona, I'm going to go with the Falcons. Um, yeah, it's just been a bad year for Arizona. They're even talking about coaching change and all this craziness. But I think this last game, we're in Seattle. We've always got their number when we're in Seattle. We're playing angry, so I think we'll probably beat Seattle and keep them out of the playoffs. It'll be a bone of contention for us.
Yeah, that's actually a bit of news that we don't have in our rundown, talking about how Bruce Arians and the Cardinals were reportedly planning on parting ways, and then they've come out and contested that. So it just kind of shows that we know nothing, and we won't know until something actually happens. So that's what the offseason's for, and things are going to get really, really interesting come probably Monday. So, a lot of these rumors, we'll start seeing things that are actually executed and start happening. So it's going to be interesting. I guess with that, let's go ahead and move into our top headlines from around the league. And we'll start with one of those league headlines, one of those rumors, saying that coming from CBS's Jason Lockenfora, who reports that the New York Giants are expected to sign Panthers ex-general manager David Gettleman as their new general manager. So
it did happen. It did that today.
Yeah.
Oh, did that officially happen? I missed that update.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah,
it did.
Well,
it's official.
Well,
there you go. Look at you.
that.
You broke the news.
It's breaking to me. As we were talking about before the show, I was at the Military Bowl all day today, so I've missed a couple notifications. So,
That's cool.
Yeah, what are your guys' thoughts on this?
I mean, for as an Eagles fan in this division, if he can, overpay for players and hurt the Giants some more, I'll say go for it. He has a bad track record of overplaying players. That's why Jonathan Stewart is making the most money he is right now playing with that team. So I mean, his history is shown. Just like I said, he's overpaid for a lot of players, man. I think the guy that they got rid of, he's a guy. I really don't have nothing positive to say about him. I mean, he likes to, open up the wallet. I'll say that.
Yeah, he's made a lot of interesting financial decisions, both opening and not deciding on opening it. Players like Josh Norman, for instance, come to mind. I would say this move wasn't surprising, seeing as how he spent about 13 years with the Giants previously as a pro personnel director and analyst from, 99 to 2012, if I remember correctly. Mm-hmm. So he's got a lot of experience with the team. So I'm not going to say I called this, but when I was hearing possible landing spots, this one kind of stood out to me. Cool. It'll be interesting. I'll be intrigued to see just how the Giants perform with a new general manager, because it's been so long since they've had someone different in there. But yeah, it should be fun. And of course, this is going to all be talk that we take into the offseason as we move into draft season, of course, and the new league year. So we'll see. With that, let's move to the quarterback position, where New England Patriots quarterback Tom Brady returned to practice on Thursday, dealing with both shoulder and Achilles injuries.
Man, Brady's really hurting with his Achilles. It's like week after week I keep hearing about that.
Well, I mean, this Achilles injury has really been limiting him for weeks and weeks now, and it's actually had a notable impact on his performance. He has not been the Tom Brady of old the last couple of weeks. Everything I'm hearing, expectation is he's going to play, because, again, the Patriots actually have something to play for. They're trying to keep the number one seed in the AFC, so it's not like they can count on the Browns to beat the Steelers in case they lose. So, oh, man, the Browns. Oh, the Browns. So, I would assume he plays. If you're therefore playing in Week 17, I guess he is a viable start for you. Let's move on to the Los Angeles Rams, where head coach Sean McVay said that quarterback Jared Goff will not play on Sunday. So this is kind of what we're talking about. These teams have nothing to play for.
That's right. It's got to feel good. It's got to feel good to be in the Rams organization right now.
Right.
I mean, they just have to look. I mean, they haven't been this good since 2003, and they've been so mediocre, literally, for so long. And all of a sudden, they bring in this young coach, and they're firing on all cylinders, and they got one of the best running backs in the league. I mean, they just got to be looking at themselves like it's a new lease on life for them. It's just amazing to see. Much props to the Rams this year.
Yeah. I guess they do. Do you think it's that they feel like they can win this game with backups? Because if they win, they would take the number 3 seed.
I don't know if it's that they have that moxie that they can do it with backups. It's just the fact that their players, they want to play their top players. They want to rest them. They got guys that have nagging injuries, like even on defense for them, like Mark Barron. He's been dealing like a knee injury. Okafor. They just got their star guys. If you got a potential to be able to rest them and give them some opportunity to heal up on some nagging injuries and get the fresh going into the next round, then hey, that's what it is. I mean, they don't have the luxury like the Vikings and the Eagles, being one of the 2 top teams. They're going to play the following week.
Yeah, I mean,
they're also it's a no-win situation for the Rams, because if they go in and they play their starters and everything, and somebody ends up getting hurt, they're playing against San Francisco. I mean. Mm-hmm. San Francisco has had an amazing run recently with Jimmy Garoppolo, who's
so good
himself to be extremely good. So all
big sleeper for next year,
right? Yeah, okay, keep an eye on that kid. I'm telling you, all they're really going to be doing is giving San Francisco their momentum, And the Rams, they believe they're for real. They think they can win a Super Bowl this year, and they could be correct about that. So yeah, if I'm them, I'll do the exact same thing. Sit all my guys down. No reason to go in here and try to beat up on San Francisco. Just play the game with your secondary, with your second string guys. Sit down and wait for the playoffs.
Did you see the remarks by Jeff Fisher essentially trying to take credit for this team?
I see him.
Shut up, Jeff.
I did see that.
Just shut up.
I mean, hey, I drafted them.
Yeah, I told you that this team was in good position going into next year, but they just couldn't wait. Okay, most uncreative play caller.
Todd Gurley.
He did pick Todd Gurley, but
I mean that you give him props for that, sure.
Yeah, but I mean, a lot of people were going to pick Todd Gurley. Besides the fact that he was injured at the time, he was this massive prospect. He was going to go. Somebody was going to take him. Sure. He just pulled the trigger on him.
He'd be a good general manager, not a good coach. He shouldn't be calling plays.
I don't know. I don't know if I could trust him as general manager because he'd be stepping in there and trying to get involved in the coaching.
Oh, they don't want him nowhere near the team.
Don't even get away.
Hey, what are you doing over there? Don't you talk?
Yeah,
don't talk. Don't even look at him.
What was it? One game we haven't talked about it in a while because he hasn't been in football this year. But he was one loss out from being the losingest coach in NFL history. So, yeah, it's bad. He's not good. He's been Mr. Mediocre. He's only had, when we were breaking this down in the past, like 2 standout years as a head coach. So, we talked about this a lot. I remember only a handful of teams that even sniffed the playoffs. So,
well, you know what? What's funny is that Bruce Arians is 1 win away from being the winningest coach in Cardinal history. Isn't that crazy?
Nice. That's nice to know.
All the more reason why I'd be surprised if he was gone.
We're the oldest franchise in the NFL, and this guy is 1 win for being the winningest coach.
We have not been good. we have not been good.
We have been bad.
Very bad.
Very bad.
I remember those years fondly.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we might be heading back to those years in a few.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. He went 27-36 in his year in 2012 through 2015, and then 4-9 in the season he didn't finish. Talking about Jeff Fisher with the Rams. So, it's not good.
Not good.
And with a lot of talent on that team. So, it's amazing what a different coaching staff was able to turn around and do. And now look at this team. They're locked into the playoffs, and they're sitting there with an 11-win record? 11-4, I believe. So, yeah.
11-4, yes, sir.
All right, well, reasons not to play to Week 17. The Rams, which have been on fire. More. Jared Goff, on fire. And some news about Todd Gurley, who has been, as I mentioned on Tuesday's show, I think the fantasy MVP this year.
Absolutely.
He's not going to play either, so we'll get there. Let's go to Pittsburgh, where offensive tackle Marcus Gilbert stated that quarterback Ben Roethlisberger will not play in Week 17 versus Cleveland. So looks like maybe they either don't think they're going to have a problem beating Cleveland or they're happy with the number 2 seed. But, if this turns out to be true, again, you can't really trust Pittsburgh Steelers to play their guys for a full game. So this is where the questions start coming in. Teams that have nothing to really play for or nothing substantial to gain, not trustworthy for your fantasy teams. And let's go. This is kind of comical. Let's go to Miami, where quarterback Jay Cutler said that he will only return in 2018 if he is a starter.
Bye, Jay.
Bye, Jay.
Bye. Well, bye then.
Farewell.
Have fun.
I mean, this
Happy
is,
retirement.
yeah,
I think they're
Tannehill.
hiring at Arena League. Arena League football. Do they need a starter?
Nah, he'll be back in the commentator's booth. Well, trying to get there.
Yeah, trying to get back there.
I mean, look, Tannehill will be back by, I believe, most accounts, and there, as we've mentioned, I don't know how many times now, that this is a very good quarterback class in the draft. This could be like the 11-12 class with RG3, Andrew Luck, all those guys who became starters almost immediately. So we'll see. I don't expect to see Jay Cutler in 2018. So just putting that out there. Let's go to the running back position. We'll start off with what we kind of already mentioned, that head coach Sean McVay in Los Angeles with the Rams said that Todd Gurley will not play on Sunday. So, look, amazing. He's had, I forget what the point total was. I don't have it in front of me. But he put up the most points in a fantasy playoffs, it's typical Week 15-16, in NFL history. So,
wow.
That's pretty darn good. Let's see. Over the last 2 weeks, he's put up 81.6 fantasy points, 270 yards, 3 touchdowns on the ground, another 186 yards through the air, and 3 receiving touchdowns in the last 2 weeks.
I'll do it.
That will do it. 6 touchdowns in 2 weeks. It's so good.
Man, he's a monster.
He's a big reason I won in our league of record. I will openly say that. So yeah, and now you're without him.
He's a big reason I won in our dynasty league.
There you go. And now you are without him if you played a Week 17. In Pittsburgh, also offensive tackle Marcus Gilbert, he said that running back Le'Veon Bell won't play in Week 17. So another top fantasy player who probably will not play. It's Week 17, guys. It's like I know we're beating a dead horse here, but
this is why you don't play Week 17.
I hope people are picking up these nuggets that we're dropping here.
I hope so. There's a reason why a lot of the industry shuts down after Week 16, but we're here. We're pushing through. In Tennessee, the Titans running back DeMarco Murray continued to miss practice through Thursday. He's dealing with a knee injury. He is, I believe, expected not to play. So I know Derrick Henry is a popular pickup this week. But we'll see. He does not have what I would say is a great matchup, obviously, against the Jags. Let's go to Los Angeles with the Chargers this time, where running back Melvin Gordon missed practice yet again on Thursday. He is dealing with an ankle injury. Now, his status is up in the air, but they have everything to play for. They can still theoretically make the playoffs. I'll bring up their exact circumstances. He does believe he will play. He's come out and said that he plans to play. All right, let's see. For the Chargers to make the playoffs, they need to win for starters. If they lose, they're out, obviously. They need to win. They need the Jags to beat the Titans, and then they need, if the Dolphins beat the Bills, they get the number 6 card. But if the Bills win, then they need the Ravens to win, and that somehow has them leapfrog the Bills. And, all that has to happen. So they need 1, 2, 3, up to 4 things to happen for them to make the playoffs. So it's possible.
First off, they got to win.
Yeah. So you're saying there's a chance.
I still believe in them, though. I think they'll get it done.
Yeah.
I think they'll get it done.
But let's see. But if the Bengals win, they're out because then the Titans, I think, leapfrog them. I don't know.
It's a lot of math going on.
Carry the one.
Yeah, they need a lot of help. They could be cut off at any number of places. But yeah, it's there's a need for Melvin Gordon, so he's one of those guys that I do trust this week. And let's finish up in Green Bay, where running back Aaron Jones is not expected to play on Sunday. Good news for Jamal Williams owners. If you're playing through this part of the season. Who are the Packers playing this week? I don't remember off the top of my head.
They're playing Detroit.
They are playing the Lions, so it's not a terrible matchup, divisional. So it's an option, but neither team has anything that they're really playing for. So,
nope.
Pride's a serious thing. Jobs.
Other than that.
But both these teams, I don't think anyone's on the hot seat, so I wouldn't be too concerned about it. Let's go to the wide receiver position, where Houston Texans wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins has not practiced still through Thursday of this week, and he is reportedly expected to miss Week 17 with a calf injury. Now, if he does miss, This will be his first missed career game. He has 79 consecutive starts, which is pretty impressive, honestly, especially for a skill catcher that gets tackled a lot. So, again, you play to week 17. This team has nothing to play for, so why put their superstar wide receiver out there just to get more injured?
Sit him down.
Keep him healthy. I don't know. The Texans at 4-11. What is that? Because honestly, when you hear the Texans, I know we had high hopes coming into the year, but hearing them at 4-11, would you have thought that they did better than that or worse than that, knowing how on fire they were in the beginning of the year? I'm honestly kind of surprised that they finished at 4-11. I know that defense is really, really bad, and they've gone through a lot of quarterbacks, but it's kind of surprising.
Yeah, I'm kind of shocked by it, and the biggest shocker was how poorly the defense played. I know they had a lot of key injuries, but they just did not have a very good defensive year.
It was. I mean, look, after Deshaun went out, man. I mean, and even there was some games that they lost there that they should really be 6. I mean, they should have about 6 wins. They should. I mean, they had that dogfight with Kansas City, and then that game with the Seahawks. So they should have about 6 wins, to me, in my opinion. But I mean, this team, we already knew what Tom Savage was, man. When you put that guy back in there, man, that's going to expose the defense. And the defense, when your defense has more time of possession than your offense, it's not good. It's not good. It's not good, and it's going to hurt, and it's going to show.
This is a team. This is the Houston Texans. This is a team I'm going to be very interested to see what they do in the draft and through the offseason, because they've got so many key pieces. They've got their quarterback of the future. They've got a great receiver. They've got some really good pieces. Adding another great wide receiver or a top-notch tight end or probably dealing with that offensive line, it's going to be really interesting. Sorry, we're getting into my part of the year here. I'm going to be really interested to see what they attack.
I think they go offensive line. I think they want to make an investment in the future.
I mean, if it was, I would go get a big offensive tackle, or one of those big, massive Alabama guards that are going to be hitting the draft this year. So yeah, that's what I would do.
Yeah, I mean, because, again, Watson got hurt this year. We saw how much better they were with him. They're going to want to keep him upright. They've got good wide receivers. Fuller was on fire with Watson, and obviously DeAndre Hopkins was unbelievable. They could use an upgraded tight end, but their guys that they have there are usable. They've got a good variety of running backs. I would stress on the offensive side that they'll probably look at the offensive line, and on the defensive side, they need some corners. Yeah, we'll see. All right, let's move on to Atlanta, where wide receiver Julio Jones claims that he will be, quote, good to go for Week 17 versus the Carolina Panthers. So, I mean, this is one of those games which is going to be interesting because the Falcons have everything to play for. They're playing for their playoff lives. The Panthers are already locked into the playoffs, but through a crazy number of possible outcomes, they can actually leapfrog all their way to the number 2 seed. So it's interesting. I mean, they need like 4 rounds of help as well. They need to win. They need the Bucs to win. They need the 49ers to win, and then they need the Bears to win over the Vikings. Is the final straw. But
you know what, though? This is the craziness of Week 17 because so many teams are going to sit their starters that all that stuff could happen. I mean, the 49ers could beat the Rams if they sit down Goff and they sit down Gurley.
Yeah, but then the Buccaneers need to beat the Saints, which are trying to hold on to a spot.
Yeah, it probably won't happen.
Yeah. So the Buccaneers need to beat the Saints. The 49ers need to beat the Rams, and then the Bears need to beat the Vikings. So you need 3 subpar teams to beat 3 playoff teams in order for the Panthers to leapfrog their way to the number 2 seed. So I just don't see it happening. That's just me.
Probably not going to happen.
I see them having the number 5 seed, which is what it looks like is the most likely of outcomes. So, but of course, Julio and the Falcons, they're playing just to make the playoffs at all. That's their circumstance. If they win, they're in. If they win this game, they have the number 6 seed. If they lose and the Cardinals win, they also get in. But if they lose and the Seahawks win, then they are obviously out. So yeah, that's the Falcons' range of outcomes. What was the circumstance with the Seahawks? The Seahawks, they're currently in the spot, aren't they?
They're basically the wild card spot. They have to beat the Cardinals, and they need the Falcons to lose to be able to get that 6th seed.
Let's see. Yeah, if the Seahawks have the spot right now, but with the way tiebreakers will work after this week is over, they need to win, and they need the Panthers to win. To win to hold the spot. So yeah, they'll flip flop spots if both teams win this week.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, that's interesting. That's something. So obviously those teams have a lot to play for this week. Let's see. Let's go to Oakland, where head coach Jack Del Rio said that the main reason that Michael Crabtree left Sunday's game versus the Eagles was a hamstring injury. So, I mean, Crabtree let a lot of people down, and we hadn't gotten any type of concrete news until recently about what happened there. All we know is that we didn't get updates during the game, and then he missed like 5 or 6 or 7, I don't remember how many series in a row. So he sunk a lot of people's seasons. So we know that there's an injury. There's honestly, I have not heard anything about his status for this week. Not that the Raiders have much to play for. I don't know. I would assume that he sits. Hamstring, why risk it? Why push it?
Most likely. They're not playing for anything. I can see that too.
Let's see. The Raiders at 6-9. Yeah, they have. I mean, we knew they were eliminated.
They've been eliminated for like a couple weeks now.
I was trying to see where they finished. Man, that was another team that let a lot of people down this year. Not just in fantasy, but they were a Super Bowl favorite this year. So,
sure was.
Man, how quickly things change in this league.
Yeah, mess up your quarterback, man. Getting rid of the offensive coordinator.
Yep. All right, let's go to Dallas, where wide receiver Des Bryant has not practiced as of Thursday, dealing with a knee injury. His status is up in the air. I mean, they're not playing for anything. They got eliminated last week. So, other than pride, this is another reason I would assume why play your super. Or do we want to open that can of worms? Their superstar wide receiver.
Yeah, we'll open that later in the offseason. Yeah. That's a good topic. That's a good debate.
That's going to be a fun debate. Man, Des Bryant. He's not 25 anymore. We'll say that. Or 24. When was his big season? I think 24. Let's go to New York with the Giants, where wide receiver Sterling Shepard did not practice on Thursday, dealing with a neck injury. Obviously, another team that's nothing to play for, so if he's not good to go, probably won't play. Buffalo Bills wide receiver Kelvin Benjamin is practicing on Thursday, dealing with a knee injury, so that's good news. The Bills obviously have a lot to play for. They have multiple scenarios in which they can make the playoffs right now. What is the main one? If they need to win, and then the outcome.
They need the Jags to beat the Titans, and I think they need Baltimore to lose to the Browns. No, Baltimore's not playing the Browns. They need Baltimore to lose to Cincy. Well, like 2 other games they need for them to be able to get in.
There are 2 possible directions this can go. First off, they need to win. Then it goes to the outcome of the Ravens-Bengals game. If the Bengals win, they're in no matter what. Because with the Jags win, because Jags-Titans is the third step. If the Jags win, they take the 5 seed. If the Titans win, they take the 6 seed. However, going back to the Ravens-Bengals game, or Bengals-Ravens, I think it's in Baltimore. If the Ravens win, they need the Jags to win, and then they need the Raiders to win to get the number 6 seed. So it's that's a 4-step process to make the playoffs that way, or they need the Ravens just simply to lose. So, Bills have a chance, but first off, they have to win. So, Kelvin Benjamin could be a start-worthy guy. That's why I like Charles Clay this week. Tyrod Taylor's a guy I really like this week, though I don't know if he made our starts, did he? I haven't looked at your guys' starts.
He did not.
He did not. So, that's it's a little bit of extra content there then. Let's wrap it up at the tight end position, where New England Patriots tight end Rob Gronkowski missed practice on Thursday, dealing with an illness. We'll update you guys when we know more. Obviously, it's hard to predict an illness. And New York Giants tight end Evan Ingram returned to practice on Thursday, dealing with rib injuries. And, of course, those rib injuries cost him game time. We'll see his status moving forward. Again, a team that has nothing to play for. So, through all that, it wasn't a lot of news, but since there's so many little steps and trees that we have to talk about possible outcomes, took a little bit longer, and we'll move into the topic of the day, which is our Week 17 starts and sits. And we'll start, as always, with the quarterback position. And I'm going to start with a guy that we were all fans of coming into the year, and I would say I think we all still like right now, especially in this matchup. And I am starting Phillip Rivers. Now, the Chargers they're not mathematically eliminated. They can still make the playoffs. They need a lot of help, as we talked about before, but this is a game they have to win against the Raiders. And the Raiders have been less than outstanding when it comes to defending really much of anything, honestly, this season. So Phillip Rivers in a game that is a must-win, going up against a team that is just giving up points at the quarterback position. I really like their chances this week, so I would be starting him with some serious confidence. CJ, your guy.
All right, listen, man. I just want you to turn the volume up just a little much, man. Look, your good brother CJ is telling you, never let this be the last year that you participate in this Week 17 debacle, foolishness, atrocity.
I like to believe that none of our listeners are, and this is just an exercise for no reason. But yes, continue.
I hope that there is a listener that is, because this is a waste of my time and I could be asleep right now. You know what I mean? So listen.
Wow.
So because you have to go through this one last time before you end this league, I say you should start Matthew Stafford, man. He's going against the Green Bay Packers.
Yes.
He has a good rapport, good history of performing well. He had a bad week last week, but he performs well against the Packers. I like this matchup, so I'm suggesting that you be able to start Matthew Stafford this week.
Yes, I agree. Jason, your guy.
All right. So if I'm the New York Giants, I'm sitting everybody down. Everybody. If anybody who's got a monicum of talent, I am sitting down. They got nothing to play for. We've had a horrible season. It's been a debacle in New York. I'm sitting everybody down. In that case, I say you start Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins is going to play a good game because I feel like he's going to be playing for other teams.
Oh,
I don't know if
absolutely.
he's going to be in Washington next year.
Probably not.
So he's going to go out there and he's going to show what Kirk Cousins is all about, and he's going to be playing a really, really bad New York Giants team. And really, even if the Giants don't sit everybody down, they can't stop anything. Their defense is tissue paper. So Kirk Cousins is probably a good start for you this week.
Yeah, giving up the most points to fantasy quarterbacks. Like you said, he's putting his skills on display one last time. Yeah, he's playing for a lot by himself. So yeah, I agree. I really like that. Let's go to the running back position, where my start of the week is Kenyon Drake. Now, of course, the Dolphins have nothing to play for, but to play spoiler for division rivals, the Buffalo Bills. They are playing the Bills head-to-head. The Bills are giving up the most points to fantasy running backs. I see this being a circumstance where Miami wants to see one last time what they have in these guys, because obviously they're probably going to go into next draft season knowing that they need to shore up some positions. Kenyon Drake has been good, and I think that his slight letdown of performance last week was an anomaly. This is a phenomenal matchup. I really like Kenyon Drake this week as an option and a guy who's not going to be sat halfway through the game, so I would start him with confidence. CJ, I did kind of spoil something. CJ, your guy.
My guy is Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry, why I would pick Derrick Henry? Because, first of all, this is a divisional matchup, so anything can go. All things are gone. And one other thing I want is just a nice little preview going into next season, man. With Derrick Henry now, most likely that trash of a man, DeMarco Murray, going to be out of the town. So then he doesn't have to, you know what I'm saying, to vulture all the touches from Derrick Henry. You're going to get to see what Derrick Henry's going to look like being the primary back, and that's something that you should be excited about and look forward to. Give you a little heads up on the other competition. You can get to scouting. So I like the matchup. I like this division. I like that this team beat this team the last time they played. And listen, they can be a little spoiler. They can play a little spoiler to the Jags and get a little salt under them when they go as they go to the playoffs.
This is one of those games that I honestly don't know what's going to happen. Because, I mean, this is in Tennessee. The Jags just lost to the 49ers, you could say of all teams, but the Browns would have been obviously a lot worse. But so they're locked where they are. They're the number 3 seed. And so since they have nothing to play for, we don't know how much we're going to even see of their starters. If this was a regular game, I'd be really concerned because it's not a fantastic matchup statistically, but it's obviously where they're most susceptible is against the run. So I could see Derrick Henry being very good there, but I also see Marcus Mariota continuing to struggle. So I could see a world where the Jags get up early and Derrick Henry doesn't catch a lot of balls, so they might abandon the run, and it could be a low-script game for him. So I don't know how this is going to play out. It's going to be interesting to watch because, of course, the Titans, they're playing for their playoff lives, and the Jags are already in. So the Jags could play spoiler to divisional rival, but, I mean, it doesn't help their or hurt their, draft stock, or not draft stock, playoff stock. So I'm going to be really intrigued to see how this one plays out as we get news of actives and inactives, especially going into this game. Jason, your guy. This my start of the week from last week. He helped me win. He helped me win this past week too.
There you go. My start of the week is Dion Lewis. They're playing the Jets, and it's not a horrible matchup as far as the Jets aren't horrible against the run, but I mean the Patriots still have something to play for, really, and also as we've already mentioned, Tom Brady's got a little Achilles issue. He hasn't been throwing the ball as well as he usually does. So they might just lean on that run a bit more than they usually do. So I think Dion Lewis is going to get a few more touches this week.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the schedule. The Patriots and the Jets play a 1 o'clock game, so they can't wait and see anything. They have to win this game.
Yep.
What time is the Pittsburgh game? Trying to find it. Yada yada yada. The Steelers game is also a 1 o'clock game. Man, so many games got flexed. They did this on purpose. So all the teams that have circumstances that affect them, they're playing at the same time. So like how we keep talking about this congested AFC picture. I know obviously the Ravens game got flexed into the 4 o'clock time slot. So it's the Bills, the Ravens, the Titans, and the Chargers all are playing at the same time, so nobody can see an outcome and just sit their guys. So it's going to make for some interesting football.
Yep.
Let's see. Let's go to the wide receiver position where I am starting T.Y. Hilton. This is a team that's trying to decide what they're going to do in the future. This is a team that wants to definitely win one, and they've got a really, really good matchup against the divisional rival Houston Texans. So, I mean, the Colts, they're trying to prove they're better than their 3-12 record. I'm sure they'd like to finish above the Titans, which are one game ahead of them at 4-11, or Texans. Besides this being a phenomenal fantasy matchup, I think that they're going to play a full game, and I like T.Y. Hilton's chances to bounce back after what has been really a super hit-or-miss season. I mean, he was sit of the week for me a number of times this year, but I am starting him up in this game. CJ, your guy. Ooh, dangerous.
My guy is Juju Smith-Schuster. Listen, I understand. Ben Roethlisberger, we heard earlier in the show that he's going to be sitting down. But the reason why I like this even more still is that this wide receiver has been working with the backup quarterback. They came up together. This is their rookie year together, so they have that chemistry. They have that camaraderie. And every time a backup quarterback comes up, he has the best rapport with he works with the most, and that is Juju. So I still see Juju getting involved, be able to get points for you, so you can get that one last hurrah before you get out of this god-awful league you're in that you have to play in Week 17.
Wow. Just has to take shots anywhere he can. I like it. Jason, your guy.
This may be the one and only time that I will ever put this person as my start of the week.
He's been good lately.
Go ahead and do it. Yeah, that's
been really good.
Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen against the Oakland Raiders. And the reason I'm putting Keenan Allen is because I, like Griffin, believe that Philip Rivers is going to play out of his mind this week. They're playing for their playoff lives. I think Allen's going to get a lot of those passes going his direction. He is their ace. So I believe that Keenan Allen is going to be a good start this week.
I agree. There's no reason it shouldn't be. This should, in theory, I would like to see this being a high-scoring game, but I just don't know how it's going to play out. In that same game, I am going to be starting Antonio Gates. I know that's not exciting news, but this guy was heavily involved last week. He had a lot of targets, he had a lot of yards, and he got a touchdown. So I say let's stay in those flames, and let's do our best to go out there and hopefully have another one against the Oakland Raiders, which are giving up a lot of points to fantasy tight ends. So I am starting Antonio Gates if I need a streaming option. There are obviously players that you're going to auto-start over these guys, but if you need a streamer, I think Antonio Gates could give you a pretty decent floor this week. CJ, your guy.
My guy is Benjamin Watson for the Ravens, man. Listen, Joe Flacco, He finds the guy. I don't know how he does it, but he does. He finds them, gets him the targets, and sometimes he gets touchdowns, and that's always good things. And like you've been with us throughout the whole season, if you get anything more than 8 points from your tight end, that's a good week. That's a good day.
That's a good week.
And they did their job. So Benjamin Watson, I see him doing that on a very depressing, a very lackluster Cincinnati Bengals defense.
Yeah, I have to agree. My start is Vernon Davis. They're playing the Giants. I mean, it's pretty much enough said this year. That's what I got to say. Playing the Giants. As I said, Kirk Cousins is going to play well. I think that this is going to be his main red zone weapon. So, Vernon Davis is going to get some touchdowns.
Yep. I agree with everything. Ravens have something to play for with CJ, and the same argument we had before with Kirk Cousins and the Giants before. So with that, let's go to the other side of players that we don't like this week. And even though it's going to be volume, even though they have something to play for, I do not like and will not be starting who has been just a massive letdown this year, taken as a top 5 fantasy quarterback, but not starting for me, Matt Ryan. I'm not gonna get into it because we did earlier in the show, but the Falcons have been underwhelming this year. It has not been at all what anyone was hoping for, and he is playing against the Carolina Panthers, which also technically have something to play for and just have a really good defense. So I'm not starting Matt Ryan with any level of confidence this week. I am looking elsewhere. There are a lot of streaming options I like a lot better. Sorry,
his play is that bad. It'll choke you up.
It is. That's what's happening. I just can't believe it. But yeah, he's that bad this year. So sorry, Falcons fans. We don't mean to keep piling on, but it's just not what anyone was expecting. So I am not starting Matt Ryan in Week 17. CJ, your guy.
My other guy is Derek Carr, man. Listen, I love Derek Carr as a player, but he's just not having a good year this year. We talked about this earlier in the show. Listen, man, he's got a tough matchup going against the Chargers, and these Chargers are playing for something. And this Chargers defense, I like it. I've been keeping an eye on these boys, and they've been playing hard. You saw that great game they did against the Bills, racking them like 5-6 interceptions. They just been playing teams hard, and those two boys in the end, Ingram and Bosa, man, they are quarterback hunters. So I see Derek Carr struggling, just like he was struggling in Philly, and I don't see this being a good game for you. So stay away from him. And I don't just like this week. I hate this week because it's Week 17, and you should not be playing in it.
He has to take his shots. Jason, your guy.
In case you were confused, CJ doesn't think you should play in Week 17.
None of us do.
My sit of the week is Marcus Mariota. Playing the Jacksonville Jaguars, it's a bad idea. They're just a really, really good defense. Yes, they're going to sit a lot of their starters. It doesn't matter. They're still a really, really good defense. And Marcus Mariota has not played well against really good defenses this year. Really hasn't played well at all, hardly, this year. So I'd go ahead and just sit down Marcus Mariota.
Yeah, that was an argument I made earlier on, not even knowing he was your sit, so I clearly agree with you.
There you go.
Let's see. Running back sits, I am sitting from the same game I'm sitting the quarterback. I am sitting Devonta Freeman. Yes, Devonta Freeman. I'm sorry, I forgot that I changed it.
I don't know why you say Devonta. It's Devontae Freeman.
You know what?
He always calls him that, too. Devonta Freeman.
It's because it's an A, and it's not a long A. I don't know.
What is that episode from Boondocks? I like how white people say the whole word
just like this. Yes, but yes, Devonta Freeman. I am not playing him. The Falcons are just, as we talked about, underachieving, and the Panthers have the third best run defense against fantasy running backs. Actually, they're tied for second with the Eagles, so you could make the argument they're the second best. So yeah, I'm not starting him. Tevin Coleman's back. It's a timeshare, it's a committee, and they could be down in this game, and they might abandon the run altogether. I know he catches passes, but it's just not a good situation. So even though this team has a lot to play for, it's not exciting to me. There are a lot of guys I like better. So I know it's not what you want to hear, and you're probably going to start him anyway, but I would be looking elsewhere for starters. CJ, your guy.
My guy is Jay Ajayi with the Eagles, man. Look, these Eagles, they've locked up the #1 seed. They don't really have that much to play for. I know that if you've been paying attention to them and do some deep dive, Doug Peterson does say he does intend to have the starters play, but I don't see them with his running back group that they have right here playing a lot. Jay Ajayi is their starter. I see them, working in LeGarrette Blount, Corey Clement, even probably Wendell Smallwood, a guy you haven't heard his name in quite some time since Jay Ajayi getting there. But I don't see JJ getting a lot of work, so that's why I'm saying that you should probably sit him down this week.
I don't see any way that your guys play a full game because you've clinched the #1 seed. There's nothing to be gained.
I could see Foles playing probably to the half, and then that's probably it.
That is legitimately what I think is going to happen. I think they're going to run him out there because they want to get more reps under him, but they're not going to risk injury. They'll get him out of there because who cares if you go 13-3 or 14-2? At the end of the day, you're still the #1 seed in your conference. So, yeah. I agree. Jason, your guy.
Jordan Howard, playing the Vikings, good defense. Neither one of these teams has anything to play for, so I think this is going to be a rather underwhelming game, and you'll probably see Jordan Howard go out of the game pretty early on anyway. So I'd just go ahead and sit down Jordan Howard.
Fair enough.
Jordan Howard just to ruin my projection of him being top 5 in fantasy for running backs.
That's the only reason. It's the only reason. Yeah.
Did you have him as a top 5? I can't remember that.
I had him one of those. Well, I don't know how we named it, but one of those end of the season predictions, whatever. I had him being top 5 for fantasy running backs, and he's not even nowhere close to that.
Huh. Well, alrighty then.
Get out of spite.
I don't even want to look at my
what?
projections.
You believed in me? Puh.
That's not far off what actually happened. So, yeah.
That's exactly what happened.
To the wide receiver position, I am sitting Amari Cooper. I know he had a really good week last week. Came out of nowhere. Shocking. It's bound to happen sooner or later. He's a boom-bust player. Crazy, I know. Michael Crabtree went down. Amari Cooper got more targets. He was able to turn some of it into production. I don't like him no matter what. He's been way too inconsistent. The Chargers are divisional. They know the Oakland Raiders really well. They also have the, 7th best pass defense against fantasy wide receivers. No part of this is exciting to me. Michael Crabtree plays or he doesn't. I'm not starting Amari Cooper. CJ, your guy.
My guy is Robbie Anderson. Listen, I know we like this dude. He was doing great with Josh McCown. He was instant money. He was kind of like the Will Fuller for this offense. But with Bryce Petty back there, just SMH. This is just bad. And it's not just bad because he's got Bryce Petty being his quarterback. It's bad because you're playing fantasy football in Week 17.
There it is. Oh, is that the exclamation point?
That horse is good and dead.
Yeah.
That is the exclamation point.
That was the exclamation point. He's ending right there. All right, Jason, your guy.
That's a dead horse, man. Whipped it to death.
All right. Just whipping it good.
We'll just keep whipping it. All right. My sit of the week is Rashard Matthews. I don't like the quarterback. I'm not going to like his weapon. And they're playing Jacksonville. Bad idea. Just sit him down. I'll throw in an extra for you guys, too. Doug Baldwin. Again, Patrick Peterson. That's all I got to say.
How did Doug Baldwin do the last time he played Patrick Peterson?
Better than he was supposed to. I'll say that.
Whoa.
What was that?
I'm not sure what that was.
The heck
You have friends over?
No, I think that I was jumping around some websites, and I think a video started playing in the background. Sorry, unprofessional on my part. Keep going.
Stop it.
Sorry, it was
porn.
no, I think it was an NFL.com video. Let's see, Doug Baldwin. I want to see exactly what he did. Yada yada yada. Oh man, where is he on the season? Do you guys think?
Doug Baldwin, I would say probably in the 20s, maybe.
Yeah.
Let's see. Doug Baldwin is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16th wide receiver on the season.
Almost right.
Not quite a wide receiver 1, as I know a lot of people out there were protesting that he should have been, or we should have listed him as. Let's see. When he played Arizona last in Week 10 in Arizona, yeah, he had a good game. He went for 95 yards. No touchdown, but that's pretty good.
Way more than he should have gotten.
You don't think he's going to do better in Seattle?
We play them tough in Seattle, so yeah, I don't think he's going to do better.
Fair enough. All right.
Probably worse.
Let's see. With that, let's move to the tight end position. Let's wrap this up. And I am sitting Cameron Brate. CJ and I had a debate about this last week. I turned out to be right, and I don't like it any better this week going up against the New Orleans Saints. The Saints are the best defense in the league at defending the tight end, and it's just, this team has nothing to play for except for maybe spoiler to the Saints, and the Saints are on fire. So I just don't like it. Could he sneak in, get you a deep pass, or maybe get a red zone touchdown? Sure, but his floor I think is pretty low. So I'm not looking to start Cameron Brate this week. CJ, your guy.
My guy, look, if I say sit the quarterback, I'm also gonna say sit his weapons. And Jared Cook, though that he was very spotty this year, I see him doing better next year. So I'm just saying, let's just put that under your cap. But for this week and for this god awful section of the show, I'm going to say sit him because it's not going to be good for him. Going against the Chargers again. Very tough defense.
Yes. And take us home, Jason. Last one of the year.
David Njoku going against Pittsburgh. Second best defense against the tight end. Now, let me just say this, though. I've been very impressed with David Njoku this year. He is a rookie, and as we have talked about and debated and screamed at each other about throughout this entire season, rookie tight ends don't really do much in their first year, but he's actually done pretty well. He's been a factor in that offense, and that offense is growing together. So I think in a year or two, David Njoku is going to be a weapon to be reckoned with. But this week, they're playing Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh sort of has something to play for. Their defense is going to be tough. Sit them down.
Yeah, I agree. So, yeah, guys, that is the 2017 season. We'll obviously have a recap on Tuesday's show. We'll talk about the studs and duds, probably briefly, because a lot of it's not going to matter. There's going to be a lot of interesting headlines, I'm sure, even by that point. And then we're going to be moving forward into our, like we did last year, NFL Playoff Challenge. Guys, I know the fantasy season is over, and for you, it should be over right now, as CJ will not let go, and we all agree with him. You should not be playing in Week 17.
It's a horse that needs to be beat.
I know.
Why?
But no, that's just mean. No horse needs to be beat. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. But fantasy is not over because there is the NFL Playoff Challenge. Like we did last year, we made our own Fantasy Football Fanatics League. We left it open for all that wanted to play with us. And, we'll see who came out on top. Actually, who won that league last year, the Playoff Challenge?
I did.
I think it was CJ.
I thought it was CJ.
Yeah, I did.
CJ got it. I was doing real good until the Packers got eliminated in the playoffs.
Yeah, I did really good in it, and I think I didn't. I won anything. It was just there to have.
Yeah, I mean, it's bragging rights. If you want to play some more fantasy football with us, come one, come all. It'll be a league that we'll set up. We'll have all the information of how to find it on Tuesday's show, so tune in then. And, as always, please make sure you guys subscribe, rate, review. Let us know what you like, what you don't like. Give us your start-sit questions. I would recommend not messaging CJ with start-sit questions this week because you'll probably just get laughed at. He might block you, honestly.
Call you names.
He might just block you on Twitter. So, again, you can send them to the show safely at the FF Fanatics, where I will make sure I handle all of them. Or to me individually, I'm at G Palmer FFF. CJ, if you want to press your luck, is at CJ Hickman 89, and Jason is at Jason Cabrera 13. So with that, we are out of here. Any parting thoughts, guys, other than the fact that it's Week 17, CJ?
Well, I appreciate you guys following us throughout the whole year, man. Submitting questions and commenting on our YouTube channel, everything like that, man. Appreciate the support, and hopefully for this being our third year, we're going to get ready to embark on that. You guys enjoy it, and get more involved, man. Send us more questions. Hit us up on Patreon. Patreon.com/fantasy4fanatics. Shameless plug. Get that in there and help you boys out, man.
I'm excited to be able to start talking about the stuff we're going to be adding over there soon. It's going to be a fun off season, and really, a lot of us look. We wait all year for football to start, but in a lot of ways, the off season is just as much fun. There's so much stuff to cover and speculation and things to quantify and figure out. And obviously, Jason's favorite time of the year is the draft, which is also upcoming. So, any parting thoughts, Jason?
Oh, man, I can't wait. Draft's coming up. But you know what? There's a lot of other interesting little side stories that are going to be going on this off season.
Oh, yes.
There's going to be some coaching stuff going on, some
Hot
GM
seats.
stuff going on. Also, there are 3 really good quarterbacks in Minnesota, and my question is, where are these guys going to end up? Because obviously, all 3 of them, I think, deserve their own team. So that, along with the fact that there are some really good quarterbacks coming out of the draft, it's going to be a really interesting offseason. Guys, stick with us because I'm going to be writing some articles about the draft. We're going to be talking about GMs and offensive lines and defensive lines, all sorts of great stuff. So stick with us through the off season. I think you'll enjoy yourself.
Yes, and a couple of quarterbacks coming up in the last year of their contract. It's going to be really, really interesting new league year that's going to be starting in March. So I can't wait. That's when it gets interesting. I mean, obviously, this season's not dead. We get to enjoy the playoffs. We get to enjoy, hopefully, an interesting and entertaining Super Bowl. But a lot of stuff to talk about as soon as that's over and along the way. So keep us tuned in, and we'll be here with you guys every step of the way. With that, we're out of here. Everyone take care. We will see you on Tuesday. Bye.